The Vancouver Canucks are falling apart. At the time I'm shooting this video, they are 4 games into the season and are already 0-3-1 to start. But the worst part about all this is that they are the first team in NHL history to lose 4 straight games after holding a multi-goal lead in each game. Any team who blows a lead nowadays is considered mentally weak. After all, that is what Coach Bruce Boudreau said after their loss to the Capitals. So why does this keep happening to the Canucks, and is Bruce Boudreau right? The NHL season is long, and Canadian markets tend to hit the panic button instantly. But to provide some context as to why fans are so heated, last season, the Vancouver Canucks were almost a great story. The Canucks got off to a slow start, with the team only winning just 9 of its first 17 games. Canucks actually decided to listen to their fan base when they were calling for Travis Green's head, and decided to fire him after losses to the Blackhawks and the Penguins. Then they brought in Bruce Boudreau. The city of Vancouver loved Boudreau as he led the group on a resurgence during the second half of last season, rattling off a 32-15-10 record. Hope was back in Vancouver, but the Canucks finished just 5 points out of a playoff spot. This year, Boudreau assessed that his team is mentally weak after failing to hold on to a lead for 4 straight games. Bruce Boudreau is a good coach. He's sitting on 599 career wins, and his assessment of the Canucks is probably accurate. But is that really the only reason why they keep blowing leads? I think the Canucks' struggles are deeper than just a mental block. In fact, if you break down their collapses in every single game, the answer gets pretty clear. They've had issues on special teams and are all over the place defensively. Let's start with the special teams. On the PK, they're getting exposed in front of the net, whether it's not tying up sticks when they're supposed to or not properly boxing out bodies. They're letting far too many pucks funnel through traffic with the opportunity to get tipped, and it's burning them in crucial moments of the game. Take this PK goal against versus the Capitals. Here, Luke Schenn just lets Dylan Strome charge in front of the net and go uncontested on the rebound attempt. Ranked 31st on the PK with 57.1%, it has been a real sore spot for the Canucks early on this season. Now, perhaps what is worse about their special teams is that they have made momentum-changing mistakes when they are on the power play. They've allowed 2 shorthanded goals against already this year that led to the game being tied, and it was caused by 2 of the Canucks' top players. First, in Edmonton, where the 3-3 goal was caused by a brutal turnover by Elias Pettersson, who doesn't take a look into the middle of the ice and isn't aware at all that Darnell Nurse is anticipating this pass into the middle. He then throws it blindly, and it's an odd man rush the other way, and it ends up in the back of the Canucks net. Then again, it happens in Philly when JT Miller tries to force a play at the blue line instead of getting it deep and establishing the power play formation. Philly ends up getting a breakaway and scores a goal shorthanded. Then you dive into their defensive troubles 5-on-5. This is expected when you have Luke Schenn as your first pairing right defenseman, but they have struggled to defend well as a team in general. Take this goal by Gaudreau to expose their struggles to defend on the rush. Pretty sloppy change by the Vancouver Canucks, and they aren't able to get numbers back in time. The Canucks D are then forced to back up because of Johnny Gaudreau's speed, leaving a juicy gap, but they actually force him to circle the wagon and go around the net. Now, unfortunately, Luke Schenn goes to take his man and actually just boxes not only his man, but his D partner out of the play entirely, leaving Johnny Gaudreau a clear wraparound goal. And if the Canucks are forced to defend in their own zone for an extended period of time, they have troubles with missing assignments and puck watching. On this play here, everyone on the Vancouver Canucks gets caught puck watching. Kuzmenko doesn't even take a look over his shoulder to see where his man is, and the Columbus Blue Jacket defenseman recognizes that and jumps up in the play. Quinn Hughes has his man for a second and then just kind of lets him go. And because everyone gets puck watching, then it turns into a mini 2-on-1 down low and ends up in the back of the Canucks net. Or you can look at this goal when they played the Caps and everyone got caught puck watching again, and no one ties up the greatest goal scorer to potentially ever play the game. Now take these 2 problems and add your head coach calling the team mentally weak. Things can get out of hand quickly for Vancouver. This is where having a coach to settle down the noise is crucial. The Canucks can easily turn things around if they fix some of these details in their game, but the more you feed into this narrative and story that you're mentally weak in a Canadian market, the more it manifests into a real problem. That's why I was a bit surprised when Boudreau said this early on in the season, because now it will be the main storyline and buzzword if the Canucks struggles continue. Even if he is right, for the sake of his job and the psyche of the the team, I would have avoided that phrase entirely because this market, a Canadian market, will run with it. Especially because Bruce Boudreau's contract is expiring this year and there's rumors with him being on the hot seat already. That being said, it's still incredibly early in the season, and by the time you watch this video, they may have already fixed all these problems. But if you make those comments this early in the season where your team is making history for all the wrong reasons, you have an early season crisis in an impatient Canadian market, and that can be a disaster. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to know what you think now. Do you believe that the Vancouver Canucks are a playoff team, or are they going to tank and go for their hometown boy Connor Bedard this year in the NHL entry draft? Leave your comment down below for a chance to be featured in next week's video, just like this comment right here on our previous video. Before we end the video, I also want to thank our sponsor for this week, Hockey Helps the Homeless. Hockey Helps the Homeless is a great organization that hosts hockey tournaments all across Canada to raise awareness and combat homelessness. Tournaments are a blast with former NHL legends coming out to support the cause like Wendell Clark, George LaRocque, Mike Gardner, and so much more. They have a tournament coming up at the end of the month on October 28th in Waterloo. If you want to participate or donate, I'll leave those links down below for you to check out the details. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe to support the channel. Turn on notifications as well. I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon.